jump up, people, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to...
Hello, everyone, and welcome again to On Tour. It's the cricket program where we look back at the West Indies tour of South Africa. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, after 2 days, the Windies have done it again. They've fought themselves back after South Africa showed some great fight and determination. But you would have to say that this test match after day 2 is evenly poised. Let's go straight to the scorecard and look at what's happening. South Africa, overnight, they were 8 down, eventually bowled out for 342. Congratulations to young Joseph, Alzarri Joseph, getting a fifer. He really deserved it. And then the West Indies, who were looking good at what, 130 for 2, fell to 212 because of Nokia, who really bowled with lots of life, lots of pace. He also got a fifer, and the Windies were trailing 212 all out. But, at the close, South Africa reduced to 49 for 4, which means the West Indies, South Africa rather, lead by 179 runs with 6 wickets in hand. Joseph has 2, Roach has 1, Holder has 1. So look, the game is evenly poised. Let's get a quick comment, first of all, from our guest all the way there in Zimbabwe, the former fast bowler, Edward Rainsford. Ed, when you look at this test, how would you sum it up after day 2?
I think it's going to be a 3.5-day test.
Yeah.
I mean, the game has, if not 3, I mean, it has gone by at the speed of light. 16 wickets fell today. And I remember when we were on yesterday and discussing the pitch and the conditions and how the ball was starting to react in the latter part of day number 1. It did that today as well, where wickets just fell in a flurry. And for South Africa to be 4 down at the end of the day, having bowled the West Indies out as well, I think the game has fast-forwarded very, very quickly. But I think there's some key moments still to come for either team to ensure that they get across the line or perhaps win this particular test match.
Tino Best, 16 wickets in a day, a dream for a fast bowler like yourself. How would you sum up day 2?
As Ed said it, it's gone by in a flash. I thought that West Indies looked really good in those first 2 sessions, to be honest. But here comes that guy, Nokia. You need a 90-miler in your team, and you need someone that can bowl consistently at 90 as well. And he led that South African attack, took it away from Rabada, who I thought would have been a handful on this particular surface. But Nokia did it, and West Indies to come back out and to get those four wickets really quickly, Barry, has really put this game beautifully poised, and I can't wait for the 3rd day.
All right, without further ado, let's have a look at the highlights, and then when we come back, we'll get straight into dissecting the day and the analysis.
I just think the amount of movement that Mayers gets could be a real handful for these guys.
Oh, let's hit the glove. And he's off. So that's Joseph has picked up his 4th. That's really good work from Joseph.
Yeah, it's a fantastic delivery from Alzarri Joseph. He digs it in short. Sean Pollock has been talking about the length, and they've been too full this morning. Alzarri Joseph, back of a length, angled in, takes the glove and brings up a career best performance for Alzarri Joseph. First time he picks up 4 wickets in a test match.
Yeah, banged in short, no more friendly half volleys. Having a look where the back of a length is going to do the trick. And as comfortable as it gets for Jason Holder. That's a lethal delivery. The ball's hard. I'm sure they had a chat to him between overs. Listen, no more genuine half volleys.
Now that one might provide an opportunity. And it is fifer. Alzarri Joseph has now got himself fifer. It's well deserved. It's his first fifer, so that is outstanding work.
Oh, wow. Oh, what a nut. They say hit top of off. And Rabada's done exactly that. It is a fantastic delivery to get rid of Brathwaite.
Yeah, he's been absolutely brilliant this morning. Kagiso, he's been asking all the right questions. The wobble seam, and on this occasion, top of off. Tell you what, that's an absolute nut. As a batsman, you won't mind being bowled with this. Look at this. Wow.
In the air, and that's a fine grab. Mutasami has taken that, and Kutsia has picked up his very first, and he has yelped after that wicket.
That's in the gap as well. And it'll go for 4.
Big shout from behind. They like that. Heinrich Klaassen likes it in particular. Up goes that finger as well. So he's struck now. 3 slips and a fine gully. In the air for a while, but there's plenty of spare space there. That's a fine shot. Brings up 50 as well for Reefer.
Yeah, fantastic shot from Reefer. That brings up his third 15 Test match cricket. Just 6 Test matches to date, and appreciated by the staff.
Yeah, 3rd Test match half century in a row. 2 of them in Zimbabwe, and batting up in number 3 position, where when they slotted him in there last year, there were a lot of doubts about whether that was his position.
In the Pouncy. And look at this session.
Yeah, remarkable session really, with 11 wickets falling. Some top deliveries in there. KG Rabada, that was a goodie. Andrik Nokia, he got a couple, quoted back with a point. That was a top delivery as well. Alzadi Joseph trying to force, and Jansen taking another catch. And that brought up Nokia's 5-wicket haul, taken down at fine leg again. And then the one that stayed low from Kutsia. And then this is South Africa, Dean Alga. Action replay compared to the first innings. He can't believe it. Tony DeZorzi, you can sleep easy, pal. You got a good nut. So did Bavuma. Absolute beauty from Alzadi Joseph. And then one delivery from the big man, Holder. He gets it on target first up, and Keegan Peterson, he's got to go. South Africa, 49 for 4.
So there you have it. All the action on day 2. Now, let's start with looking at the day. So good to see Alzadi Joseph, 5 for 81. He really deserved those 2 wickets, Tino. And then he got 2 in the end. So he really got 4 today. How would you assess how this young man is coming on leaps and bounds?
Yeah, by just letting him grow, giving him the opportunity to grow inside this West Indies team. Look, I remember back in the day when you didn't perform for West Indies, after 1 test, you get dropped for a whole year sometimes. But nowadays, guys get the opportunity to grow in the team, and they get to develop as well. And I think from the first minute that I saw Zari, I know he was going to be a good bowler. All he needed was someone to back him and the selector to show some faith in him. And he's rewarding them beautifully today. Just to show you how once you run in and you bend your back and you get the pitch out your head and you just focus on bowling as quickly as you can, you will get a fifer. And to get his maiden 5-wicket haul, it's taken 26 Test matches or 27. But he is a talent, Barry. And all he needed is that support. Needed someone to back him and to support him and help him for him to believe in himself that he can play at this level. But I thought he was tremendous. And even coming back in the back end this evening and getting 2 wickets, Barry, I thought that was tremendous.
So, Ed, you look at the fact that the South Africans, 342, the West Indies will take that, seeing that the South Africans were 220 for 2. They really capitulated and they really fell. But let's look at the West Indies batting, Ed. And Shandapal and, of course, Craig Brathwaite, not a bad little start, but they didn't get away. But what we did see was that encouraging stand between Raymond Reefer, who got 62, and then the vice-captain, of course, Jermaine Blackwood. Let's talk a little bit, Ed, about how the West Indies batted. We looked at Reefer. He was the shining light. Yeah. Are you happy with what you're seeing from this number 3? He's also a Barbadian. Are you happy with what you saw today in his 62?
There's been talk, and obviously listening to some of the commentary and watching how he is batting, about how he's not a natural number 3. But the way he played, he went about scoring that 62 today. He played the ball really late. And one thing I really liked a lot was he really used the full face of the bat and used the V against those fast bowlers. And he wasn't looking as if he was out of his depth. The ball did nip around and yes, went past the outside edge. But automatically he put that behind him and he looked forward to playing the next ball. And that's what you need to do in South Africa. So I love the heart that he has. I love the technical aspects that he brought to today's game in terms of playing down the V and playing with a full face of the bat, playing through the cover region, whether it's wide or short in the high felt in South Africa, you do score runs. And then Blackwood to come out as well, and he looked really good. They both showed very good balance at the crease, and that was an integral part for the West Indies there. If they both went on, they really would have brought that deficit down. It wasn't meant to be, but there were some positives there in the sense that in South Africa at Centurion, they used the V, they used the full face of the bat, and there was excellent balance from those two.
I'll follow on with Tino with that conversation, Tino. Raymond is just 31 or so. 5 test matches. It's only his second half century. Your thoughts on Raymond Reefer batting at number 3 for the West Indies? Is this something you think that he can do consistently? Is he a natural, or are we just seeing grit and determination at its best?
Grit and determination at its best. Look, a commentator said he's not talented. It had me a little heavy because I was very disappointed. No comment, Barry. Don't get cheeky. But I was just I was just disappointed because when you see someone like Raymond Reefer who has worked extremely hard on their cricket, you can't make those comments. You've got to big him up and say, look, this young man has come to first-class cricket. Barbados didn't select him. Guyana selected him. He's played for Guyana for 4 or 5 seasons, and they have won about maybe 3 or 4 first-class cups while Raymond Reefer was in that setup. So you got to talk about the positives and how this young man has really developed his cricketing game. And that's what I would have loved to hear from a West Indian commentator.
It reminds me of Cal Mears, who Barbados didn't pick, played for so many years for the Windward Islands, and then all of a sudden one breakout year for Barbados, and that was the rest is history. So this could be the turnaround for Raymond Reefer as an international cricketer, the same way that Ghana, put a gamble on him, and he's now beginning to perhaps get that confidence to come out of his cocoon like a butterfly.
Yeah, look, Ed said it perfectly. This young man played in the V as a fast bowler, and a guy is playing down the V. You're telling yourself, look, it's going to be very difficult for me to hit his edge because he's playing the ball really late and he's playing down the V. So I thought that Raymond really stuck to the task, and I think he looks good. He's kind of like a Bonner in a way. Bonner, when he first came in the team, he had those 50s and 1 or 200s. And that is what you want. You want someone who isn't a Brian Lara. We're never going to get a Brian Lara again. We're never going to get a Viv Richards batting at number 3 again. Or Ramnaresh Sarwan. But we got to work with what we have, and we got to keep encouraging. Even when we are on commentary and we are talking about our own, not only countrymen, but our own regional players, pick them up. Don't say they're not talented, because he's played for West Indies, for crying out loud. When you play for West Indies, you have to be talented to play for West Indies. Gosh, man.
I have to come in there. I've got to come in there, Tino, and I have to agree with you 100%. You cannot say a guy is not talented, and he's playing a test match against one of the best bowling attacks going around. I feel that
he top scored.
Is so unfair. Yeah, exactly, and you cannot say that. But moving along, you're right. You have to talk about the cricket. You have to talk about, you don't always have to talk about the good or the bad, but you have to remain balanced. The guy, like you said, has top scored against a very good bowling attack on what I listened to the interview at the end of the day with Mark Nicholas and Jerome Blackwood, and he said, this is not a flat wicket. This is actually quite a difficult wicket to bat on. So if you're going to get 100 like Markham, it's going to feel like it's 170 or 180. If you're going to get a 70 or an 80, that's as good as 100 as well, because each ball's almost got your number on it. So I can't believe someone said that. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, very me as well.
What's funny is that Jermaine Blackwood and Raymond Reefer, I think they're born the same year. But Jermaine has played 50 odd tests. Reefer has played 5. And their batting styles are totally different. You look at a Jermaine Blackwood and you would say he's really talented. But does Jermaine Blackwood have the temperament of a Raymond Reefer? So, to say something like that, it makes you wonder, how do you leverage and how do you break down the word talented? What does talented really mean? Does talented mean that you don't have to work hard at your game and you can just come out there and flex your muscles? Because at the end of the day, it's about the performances.
Well said, Barry.
Well,
well done, Barry.
No, I want to hear. I really want to hear the context it was said in, because I didn't hear that particular comment. So let's talk about Norkia now, and let's talk to you first about Norkia, because this man is a world-class bowler. I like his commitment. He's committed to Test cricket, loves Test cricket, and when I saw him in Australia, was December or so, you still see that even though South Africa had a torrid time in Australia, you still saw the commitment and you still saw the fight of a Nokia. And then here against the West Indies, I didn't expect anything different, having seen him a couple of years ago here as well. Why is this man such a good fast bowler, particularly on these great boxy pitches?
First of all, and Tino will tell you this, you cannot buy pace. You cannot buy the fast twitch fibers. And Anrich Nokia has all of that. He has, you can't get it down the road. You can't get it at your best grocer. He has pace. And what he's done with that pace is then he's added a little bit more skill to it, whether he's seaming the ball off the surface or he's getting the ball to swing. And one of the interesting things about Anrich Nokia that a lot of people wouldn't understand is that about 18, he was bowling with a bent front leg. He's now bowling with a braced front leg. So he's been blessed with the pace. He's then worked on his skill, and then he's also then worked on the technical and the strength aspects of his game about getting over the front foot and making it even harder for batters to pick him up and maybe gain a little bit more in terms of pace. So he's someone who's worked hard on his game. He's someone that has thought hard about his game, and he's someone that has the physical attributes about his game, but he's brought that all together. And now the world is seeing the quality that's Anrich Nokia.
Tino, I also want to talk, I don't mean to go back and talk about that all the time, but Temba Bavuma, to me, this is just my opinion. I mean, I've never played cricket at the level you or Ed have played at. I'm just an observer. I'm glad to be among you guys and to even have the opportunity to comment, because only former cricketers can comment, really. But Temba Bavuma, to me, is a cricketer that I don't know if he's Test cricket ready. I look at him. 1 century he's got. He's a captain of South Africa, but he's beginning already to look like a bit of a bunny to Joseph. He got 2 balls in the first innings. Now he's got 1 ball in the second. When I saw him against Australia, he fought. He showed great determination, but he has a problem to me moving his feet. I'm just going to ask you and Ed, is this the best South Africa can do in terms of a batting lineup? Because they are indeed a great team. But is this the best that they can do in terms of a captain? You know, you look at the former South Africa batting captains, and they have been really, really good. I'm not sure Bavuma stands into that category, even potentially. Your thoughts, Tino, and then Ed.
Well, I think Ed should go first because he's from that part of that neck of the woods.
Okay, well, let's switch it up. Ed,
let's give him the new ball.
Thanks, Tino. Temba Bavuma is a quality player, Barry. You look at his test record, 1 test 100 and I think 1750s. But you look at those 1750s, they range between 50 and about 80, 90. He then hasn't gone on to get that next test 100. But in those test 50s, he has saved South Africa when they've needed them the most. He has come out and he has shown great determination. He has a few technical issues, but I definitely believe that Temba Bavuma has the ability at test level. If you look at that particular delivery that he got, that'll be my play of the day later on today. You look at that delivery by Alzari Joseph. That's getting anyone out Monday to Sunday, 365, 24/7. That is a ripper of a delivery. So to answer your question, I think he has the attributes as a test player. I think he has the attributes as the leader for South Africa in test cricket. And I think it'll come with time. I know that the bar has been set incredibly high by the likes of Graham Smith. Graham Smith's record, I mean, it is something to behold. I don't know if Temba will ever get there, but I think he's the right person. But he also needs some moving parts there. When you talk about their batting lineup, they need to get some of these talented young guys that are scoring tons of runs in this particular side. And I think there was just one selection that they got wrong. and that was Mutasami. They could have brought in another batter because this wicket's doing a lot.
Now, Tino, you would be hiding. Let's hear your comments.
Now, Ed said it perfectly. The skipper is a good player. He's a fighter. He's a gritty little player, and he's tough, Barry. But he got 2 good deliveries in this Test match, and that is cricket. And he's on his debut as the captain, and he's going for a pair. That is why I love Test cricket. Test cricket is such a humbling game. It's 1 minute you're on cloud 9, the next minute you're on ground 0, and people are questioning if you're good enough at this level. So that's just the interesting part about playing Test cricket. It's called Test cricket for a reason, Barry.
It's like the other night, I was enjoying England and New Zealand. I could not move. The action was gripping, one of the best Test matches ever. And I don't know if people are going to remember a one-day international or even a T20, like how they're going to remember that England-New Zealand Test game.
I have something to
Barry,
pull you up
don't
about
say
as well,
that.
Barry. Wait, let me pull him up first, Ed. He tweeted that this was the greatest Test match ever. I thought that was blasphemous, Barry. The greatest Test match of all times is Brian Lara chasing and beating Australia by himself in 1999 at Kensington Oval. 153 not out. Don't be disrespectful, Barry. Don't ever mention any other game in that.
Yes, Barry.
Ambience.
Never say that, Barry.
West
Indies beat England.
I'm a nobody, Tino. No, who's going to really pay me any money when I send it? If Tino Bessa said that...
I follow you. So that's blasphemous.
Okay.
Hey,
you
Barry,
have a point.
what about the
one of the
one day game between? What about the one-day game between West Indies and England when they were batting in the dark and they won the ICC Champions Trophy? How can you say you can't remember a great ODI?
Number two. That's number
Oh,
two.
come on, Barry.
That was the ODI. That was the ODI.
That was the ODI. Fair enough.
You said no one remembers. No one remembers ODIs and T20s. That's what you said.
Oh, right.
They remember
Okay.
Test cricket.
From that perspective, I take your point. But they're few and far between what you remember, what you cherish. You really cherish that Test. You really cherish a Test victory. People are still talking about that 153 at Kensington by Brian Lara. If you go Kensington now, if I drive down Kensington now, and I ask anyone down there what was the greatest Test match on this turf, they'll tell me Brian Lara's 153 not out against Australia, 1999. People still talking about it. I'm not sure that we're talking about the ODIs. I'm going to save myself and take a break. Thank you. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back. Don't move a muscle. We're having fun. And then we can look at the players of the day, or the player of the day in our estimation. Don't move.
Come to the top, it's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to... Come to the top, it's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to...
So we're back then for the player of the day in our estimation. Hard one. I'm going to go with Raymond Reefer. I thought that 62 was what really held the glue for the West Indies together. With Shandapur getting out for 22 and his captain, who was out for half that for 11, I was beginning to fear that that inexperienced and inconsistent lineup was going to wobble. But Reefer really held it together. Perhaps he just didn't have anyone with his mettle or talent who could bat as good as him. So, look, my player of the day is Raymond Reefer. Very close, though, to Alzarri Joseph, who I gave yesterday. I don't think he can get it twice in a day. Ed, who was your player of the day on day 2?
I'm going to go. My player of the day was Anrik Nokia. He's 5 for 36. His third 5-wicket haul in Test cricket. He bowled quickly. He was the difference between the other seamers and ended up almost single-handedly bowling the West Indies out, because you think West Indies get another 70 runs, they're definitely in the game. So my player of the day is Anrik Nokia, and my player of the day would probably be the ball to Temba Bavuma, which was totally unplayable.
Yeah, you got that right. We'll argue there at all. What about you, Tino?
Look, my player of the day would definitely be Raymond Reefer. I thought that he showed grit and determination, and that's what you want to see from your number 3. You want to see that fight. You want to see that passion. You want to see that determination when you put on or whenever you don the maroon cap. You want to make sure that you go out there and give your all for the people of these beautiful islands in the Caribbean. My player of the game, of the day, will be that delivery from Kemar Roach. That was beautiful. That was skillful. Wow. To the number 3 on debut. I thought Kemar Roach in the last 3-4 years has really, in the last maybe 7-8 years, has really lost his pace. But he has become so skillful. And having the opportunity to play county cricket for Surrey and to do so well, he's really understand his bowling. And I thought that was a jaffa of a delivery, coming around the wicket, using the middle index finger, pulling on it like the great Malcolm Marshall taught us. And that was a picture of the delivery. So I think that was arguably one of the best balls in the test match so far. So well done, Kemar.
I'll ask you this question on Kemar Roach. I'm glad you brought it up. This is a quick one. Should he be opening the bowling still with Alzari, with Shannon Gabriel? Shannon Gabriel and Alzari open. Perhaps he'll come at number 3. First change. What are your thoughts on that?
No, not at all. I don't think that Shannon, in the last couple of years have really been, maybe last 2-3 years, have really been the Shannon Gabriel of before. So, he come on maybe 4th change. I would start with Kemar, as always, bowling the first ball, because you want your most skillful. At the end of the day, Kemar is still our most skillful bowler, Barry. And then Alzari is our quickest. And then from there, you bring on Jason and Shannon. So you will kind of you will bring Shannon as a short bowler, short spurts, looking to bowl 2 to 3 overs as quickly as he can and try to get a wicket. Sometimes, given the situation and given this surface, I would bring on Kyle Mears before I bring on Shannon Gabriel. That is what I'm trying to say to you in terms of being a very skillful bowler on this particular surface. As Ed said, the indentations is going to nip about and it's going to be very difficult. I honestly believe if South Africa scores another 100 runs, I think that the West Indies is going to be in the back seat. They need to restrict South Africa well under 250. And I think they have they need the mindset, and I do think they have the skill set to do this. These two teams, their strength is not the batting, it's the bowling. So it is going to be a very serious tussle in the 4th innings, and I'm super excited about it.
Well, Ed, finally, I think that anything above 230, 240, West Indies will find it difficult. It's going to be a really hard task. Or they're going to depend a lot upon the captain and Shandapal to give them that solid platform like what happened in Zimbabwe. If Shandapal and Brathwaite can give them that solid platform, you can then expect Mears to have that confidence and come and explode, Blackwood to have that confidence. But you see, the problem is going to be, if the Windies are 20 for 2, chasing 230, game is almost finished. I don't know if anyone else besides perhaps a Roston, who is still hot and coalish, even though he got a half century in a couple of innings ago. And I'm not quite sure anyone has that temperament to stand up and bat to get 230 runs with Nortje bowling so fast. And Rabada, mind you, who's looking to come back. He's had a little rough period, but I didn't think he bowled that badly today. Am I wrong, Ed? Did I analyze that correct?
I think 230 is competitive. I think you give the West Indies a look at 230, and I think they'll take it. If you say to the West Indies, we want you to get 230 in the 4th innings to win this test match, I think that day they'll be happy to try and chase that. They won't be happy to be chasing 280, close to 300, 270. No. So I agree with you. There's going to be key components in that batting lineup. You talk about Blackwood, his exuberance. Maybe Reefer needs to be extremely gritty along with the 2 openers, and then allow someone like a Blackwood, a Myers, and then maybe even if you really give him the opportunity, a Jason Holder can get you a 40 or close to a 50, and then that 230 just doesn't seem enough for South Africa. But 280 South Africa will be looking at plus, that really sort of makes it quite difficult for the West Indies. So West Indies, first hour tomorrow, be as good as they were in this last session today and the last session yesterday, and not as bad as they were with the first session of this test match. And they could set themselves up for a great opportunity to win this test match.
All right. If you can't follow the action from 4 o'clock in the morning live on FlowSports, we'll be right here to give you the analysis and lots of highlights on tour. Don't miss it. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
West Indies. We are the West Indies. That's right. We are the West Indies. Turn it up to the top. It's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand.